Hi everyone, my name is Colleen from Property Lim Sisters. Today, I'm very excited to share with you on the upcoming development Vela Bay, which is located at Bayshore. Right, again, I just want to take this opportunity to also thank our subscriber for giving me some feedback because they mentioned on my previous video straight away it's a slides, like they cannot see me properly. Yeah, so here I am. With that, I will do the screen sharing where I'll be sharing with you more insights of this development, such as the location map, the site plan, the facilities, some of the floor plans, and last but not least, in terms of pricing, whether is Vela Bay something that you would be looking at, be it for investment or for own stay. Okay, I hope you guys can see me at the corner of the page. So what I have behind me basically is this artist impression of Vela Bay, which is located right next to ECP, right next to, of course, the East Coast Park, where you will have a block sea view. So now let's talk about the location itself. Where is Vela Bay? In fact, Vela Bay is one of the, how should I put it? Maybe one of the hype or one of the hottest project for this year, I would say, because for buyers, especially looking for this location in Bayshore area, and especially if we are looking at brand new, to be very frank, there isn't any. Okay, and that is the reason why Vela Bay is kind of the one and only option. So highlighted over here, this is where Vela Bay is at. Doorstep to Bayshore MRT exit 1. And of course, surrounding Vela Bay is also the zoning of Bayshore Pristine. There's also two BTOs up and coming, which has already been, in a way, balloted, and there are definitely buyers who have already chosen their BTO homes. But more importantly, what's upcoming, which is the vicinity of Vela Bay, would be this area itself, where there is residences, there is parks, greeneries, and medical zone. Of course, when we talk about Vela Bay, when we talk about right next to MRT, doorstep to MRT, fully sheltered to MRT, we are also emphasizing in terms of the MRT, which is down at Bayshore right here, Thompson East Coast Line. And of course, for some who are looking for own stay or be it for investment, if you are traveling towards town area, it's just only one full train. You do not need to change train or things like this down to Marina Interchange. And of course, you will also head to Outram Park and last but not least, Orchard area. Under the URA master planning, if we realize again, this can definitely be obtained at the URA master plan site. What the government have actually planned off for this Bayshore Pristine will actually be something in a way like car light zone. That is the reason why when you see on this transit priority corridor, this actually is a widening of this corridor, which encourages more people to cycle, more people to, basically go green or even walk to the amenities nearby. This is, of course, the green space that is within the Bayshore Pristine again. From Bayshore Vela Bay itself, there's actually two ways where we can connect to East Coast Park. And of course, the one that I'm circling here over the right, this is the future Bayshore Central Park, which is already zoned as the park itself. Of course, for some of you who are already familiar with Bayshore, you will definitely probably know it better than me. However, just for some who are not familiar in Bayshore area, basically when we talk about Bayshore, we usually talk about Changi, right? So that is also the reason why there is a close proximity, be it by driving or be it through the train station itself. Other than that, we will be the East Coast Park, where there's F&B, bistros all over there. Basically, I would say it's a lifestyle development where not only you are of close proximity to work, but also close proximity to nature. And now when we look in terms of Bayshore Pristine again, like just now what I've emphasized, that is actually going to have two BTO sites. And when we look in terms of that, definitely more influx of families coming in. Therefore, there is a need for schools as well. Within 1 kilometer, there's actually Temasek Primary School, and there is actually a upcoming Future Education Institute, which we are still not too sure what will be reserved for this site. And like what I've mentioned, this is going to be a new area, a new estate, and the government have actually announced that there's going to be 10,000 new homes, of which 70%, which is 7,000 homes, will be HDB. Okay, meaning to say the balance 3,000 will be private homes. But more importantly, let's take a look at what's going to be like for the upcoming BTO. Number one, if you have been doing some research, we would know that HDB have recently came out with this thing called the Standard Plus and Prime flats. Okay, and just so happened for Bayshore, because it is seafront facing, it is also close proximity to the MRT, there is actually a 10 years MOP for this BTO at Bayshore. On top of that, for some who are looking to kind of rent out the whole unit after their MOP, unfortunately, due to this classification, homeowners are unable to rent out their whole unit. That means to say they can only rent out rooms. Okay, that and they need to stay in there, of course. Okay, but interestingly, why am I bringing this out is basically some people might be thinking like, oh, in this new estate, there's going to be like influx of 10,000 homes, what's going to happen for our future exit, maybe for investors, or instead we are looking at who are coming in. Are there going to be demands for buyers who can sway between HDB and private condos? So this is something that you might want to take note of, that if let's say you're thinking that the 7,000 homes could be in a way like a direct competition kind of thing, unfortunately, after building of the BTO, the homeowners will still need to live in there for the next 10 years. And of course, ultimately, when we are looking in terms of renting, that's for sure they can't rent out at all. So for investors who are looking at, say, rental yield, this is something to be looking at. It will be Vela Bay as well as the private developments within the vicinity. Now, what's upcoming in this area? Not just only we talk about Vela Bay, not just only we talk about being close proximity to East Coast Park itself. There's also going to be the largest SAFRA in Singapore, where they actually relocate the entire SAFRA over. Next thing, up at Bedok South MRT, there's also going to be an integrated transport hub. Then, like what I've mentioned earlier, there is already zoning for medical. There's also a zoning for future education, which we still do not know who is going to take over, or what would be the school be like. Now, next, as we look in terms of 10,000 homes, I believe some people might also be concerned in terms of like, what would be the traffic like in this Bayshore area, suddenly there's like 10,000 homes coming in. So therefore, there's also like a new flyover at ECP with this widening of the road area. So if we take a look at this, there's actually a new flyover that is built over here along Bayshore Avenue. There is also the widening of ECP to actually kind of prepare for the future, where there's an influx of 10,000 homes in future. So as we are talking about earlier, the new transit priority corridor, just to take note also, Bayshore would be part of this new car light scheme, okay, where they will actually encourage more people to take the public transport like the MRT, the bus, or even cycling. right now. So let's talk about this development. So this development, the developer is no other than Singai. For those who have probably seen Singai portfolio, they have recently done like Alta at Clementi. Their past track records will be Park Clementi's, Grand Diamond, which is also almost TOP soon. Okay, and so on and so forth. So there are no strangers, I would say, to Singapore itself due to their many developments that they have done up so far. So for Vela Bay, number one, there's a 515 units, and of course, coming with two blocks up to 31 stories high. It's direct connected to the MRT with shelter. And for number of car park lots, just have to take note there's going to be half, which is 258 car park units due to Vela Bay being situated in the car light zone. For architecture as well as landscape architect, we'll be looking at P&T consultant and as well as landscape architect, which is EcoPlan. So these are again one of the reputable architects as well as consultants in Singapore. Now let's talk about Vela Bay. What would be the view like for this development and what would you be able to expect? So number one, how the developer have planned it out, or would I say the architect have planned it out, would be having two blocks over here. And again, depending on which type of unit you go for, because Vela Bay do have different unit mix. And again, looking in terms of either having an unblocked sea view or we'll be looking at low-rise blocks, still giving lots of privacy, still giving lots of unblocked view over here. And if we look in terms of the surrounding of Vela Bay, this is the site that we have, which is 31 stories. And in fact, within the close proximity, number one, next to Vela Bay will be Costa del Sol, up at 30 stories, the Bayshore up at 30 stories. How about the back area itself will be Bay Court, 7 stories, Summit 19 stories, and Riviera Residence at 13 stories. Meaning to say, if you are back facing without the sea view, not to worry, you still have very nice unblocked view if you're going for higher floors. And how the developer actually position it would basically be 78% offering sea views, okay, 17% for the low-rise view, meaning to say the back facing, and of course, last but not least, internal full facing. So this is how the site will look at with this very nice unblocked sea view and the ECP as well. And on the left would be upcoming residential site, and on the right will be Costa del Sol and the Bayshore. Over at the back, we'll be having an unblocked view due to the low-rise enclave nearby. And now let's move on to the site. For the site itself, just to highlight in terms of how the developer again have planned in terms of the terrains. So maybe I will just start in terms of where the units are situated, definitely above ground. Okay. However, when we look in terms of basement 1 and 2, basement 1 is not exactly basement 1. Basement 1 is basically where the side gate would be. Later on, I'll be sharing more in depth. And of course, this is block 1 and block 3, which is above ground. So now in total, there are 3 side gates for Vela Bay. And first of the side gate definitely will be the main entrance, the main drive-through, where you will have the side gate over here. Side gate number 2, which is located at basement 1, indirectly is like ground level, but they call it basement 1. It's fully sheltered to Bayshore MRT, and last but not least will be Bayshore Drive, gate number 3. All right, so all 3 different side gates, I would say it's kind of have its different purpose. Of course, gate 2 will be to the MRT. Another one would be directly to ECP, for easy access. And last but not least, if you plan to head towards Bedok South area, then definitely that's where gate number 3 would be useful. What I've mentioned earlier as well regarding the view. So this is how the views will look like for block 1 and 3. Basically, the red arrows are the one that will be facing the low-rise back facing. The blue ones will be sea facing. Of course, having said that, the blue ones would be having sea facing, but I also would not say 100% with sea facing. Why? It's because definitely you do have greeneries, trees right in front of you. So potentially we would also need to go for higher levels. And the developer have kind of mentioned that starting from level 11, you do get a very clear off, nice sea facing sea view. This is block 1, block 3, and the proximity distance between each blocks. If you realize here, the widest being 48, and of course, the narrow ones is 11.8. However, saying that at 11.8, the units do not face directly each other because why? The balcony is facing here, and the balcony it will be facing here as well. So again, I will be sharing more in depth later on. And now next to the per floor, like how many units would that be? Basically 9 units per level, okay, for both block 1 and block 3. But ultimately, when I mention about 9 units, some of the levels would have lesser than 9. Reason being, it's because they do have certain stacks which starts from level 3 and some stacks that starts from level 5. So I'll be sharing more in depth later on. And with regards to the number of lift, there's 9 units per level. In total, there would be 3 lifts over here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this would basically be where the refuge would be. It will be a common refuge. Same thing goes for block 3. 3 lifts over here and the refuge right opposite. Facilities itself is actually very nice spread out, and what's most important, this is offering full condo facilities with the tennis court right here. And again, just to emphasize, tennis court is actually sunken in, so there's definitely decent noise barrier in that sense. Clubhouse over here, gym, okay, and there's a pavilion, and last but not least, the lounge. So at this distance apart, this is where the pool would be. However, having said that, other than the pool itself, there's also a very nice sail that is at the site. That means at the development itself, there will actually be 2 sails that are kind of put in as maybe landmark in a way on Vela Bay, because if again you have done research, Vela Bay is actually meaning to say it's like a sail, that's the ship. All right. This is how the sizing of the gym would be, which is quite decent, I would say. Function rooms, the lounge, and of course the changing rooms over here. Next will be the tennis court. And this is how the drop-off point would look like. Now on to the unit. There would be 1 bedroom all the way to 5 bedroom and the penthouse. So like what I've mentioned earlier, just to take note that not all levels would have 9 units, right? Okay, so which are the ones? So basically at stack 16, 17, the units will start from level 3 onwards. Next, stack 5 would be starting from level 5 onwards. And last but not least, stack 2 to 8 will start from level 5 onwards as well. And just to highlight, if let's say you are interested in the penthouse, there's only 2 penthouses where the developer have merged 2 units as one for the 2 penthouse. Now let's talk about the inspiration, how Vela Bay is formed, the color themes, and so on and so forth. As we know, Vela Bay, again, which means to say the sea, the boat, really having that kind of lifestyle. So they have actually gotten the architecture to do the plans. And this is how the 2 bedroom will look like, which is one of the show unit that will you'll be able to see. In fact, just to highlight from the main entrance itself, coming in from the main entrance, you will have a very, very nice kitchen where the developer have mentioned that again, if you have plans to kind of like semi-enclose the kitchen, you'll be able to maybe put in a sliding door here, and this forms as part of the kitchen space. I would say two-bedroom show flat has been very beautifully done. Later, I will share with you like some photos of the show flat. Not all, because the developer have not released everything at this point of time. So the common bedrooms will be 9.1 square meter, and it comes with dual entrances for the bathroom. Master bedroom will be 10.9. You can definitely fit in a queen size bed, king size bed, or even a side table. And it will come with the bathrooms over here as well. So this is actually our typical two bed, two bath. Something again to highlight, just in case this is going to be like your first time doing researching on new developments. Basically, Vela Bay is under the GFA harmonized era. And what's different between previous few launches or resale homes, basically the aircon latch is not part of the square footage that you are seeing here. I would say typically maybe a two-bedroom aircon latch will be maybe say 4 to 6 square meters. So what you are seeing here is definitely without the aircon latch. So maybe some of you might be thinking, hey, how about other nearby developments that are bigger, like 700 over square feet and things like this? But that's also due to the fact that they have included the aircon latch. Okay, so this is how the open concept kitchen will look like. Definitely developer will be providing fridge, washer cum dryer, oven, cooker hob, cooker hood, and as well as all these kitchen cabinets. What you are seeing on the right itself, this is actually an artist impression. So to share with you how you can potentially recreate or modify the open concept kitchen into something enclosable. Next, this is the bathroom that will be fully fitted, okay, with the handheld shower, mirrors with back storage, vanity top, as well as a toilet bowl over here. And what does not come with basically will be the lightings and of course all these accessories. On to the second show unit that will you'll be seeing, three-bedroom premium. So main entrance coming in, it will have a very nice enclosed kitchen that comes with definitely a window and also a backyard area if you intend to, potentially air your clothes in there. But other than that, there's already washer dryer over here. There is a household shelter together with a toilet. So again, a household shelter, some people might deck it up as a helper's area if let's say that's the preference. Dining, living separated, balcony at 6.7. Rooms wise, I would say is definitely very spacious at 9.1 square meters. Two common rooms sharing one bathroom. Same thing, it comes with window for ventilation, master room with master bath that comes with also windows for ventilation. Okay, so now just a concept of how the bathroom will look like. Basically, there will be a feature wall. Okay, and again, same thing, all these fittings will be provided by the developer. So this is the next concept of the four-bedroom premium, five-bedroom premium, as well as the two penthouses. This would be the last show unit that we have over at the show flat, basically five-bedroom with private lift over here. So starting from the private lift entrance, coming out from the foyer area, there's actually four bedrooms tucked on the right itself. So of these four bedrooms, two bedrooms, same thing, 9.1 square meters, will be sharing a common bath. There will be a fourth bedroom that comes with an ensuite over here, but this is not the junior master. We call it the junior's master. Okay, and next will be the master bedroom that comes with a very beautiful walk-in wardrobe and of course the master bath, which offer two sinks. On the left itself, this is where the junior master bedroom would be, okay, again with ensuite. So having said that, there will be three bedrooms with an ensuite bath. As we walk along the living dining, can just take a look at how wide width the dining living would be in terms of the space. And of course, there will be a dry concept kitchen that comes with a household shelter right on the side. And internally would be the wet kitchen that comes with a back door. So this is how the dry kitchen would look like. Basically a countertop, of course, with some simple washing if you like. And you can definitely place more electrical appliances, such as toaster, or even like kettles over there. This is how the wet kitchen will look like. And just to take note, for the 5 bedroom, it will also come with the dishwasher over here. Separate washer dryer, all the fittings, cooker hood, cooker hob, as well as oven would come as part of this unit. The double sinks, that's what I've mentioned earlier. And this would basically be the walk-in wardrobe concept for the 5 bedroom. And this would be the concept of the wardrobe for a common bedroom. So I would just skip the electrical appliances, basically Miele, Smack, and all these would be the fittings that comes along with the unit. So now I've come to the last part of today's sharing, would basically be the vicinity price point. Of course, the developer have not shared with us like how much is the guide price, the entry price and so on and so forth. But what we can benchmark basically would be prices that is in the vicinity, whether is it like a right entry price to enter, would Vela Bay be overpriced and things like this, we can definitely benchmark it along with what the nearby condos have already done. So for Costa del Sol itself, like what I've mentioned earlier, over the past like 20 years, there hasn't been any new developments in the vicinity. So Costa del Sol, again, same thing, just to highlight, the TOP is 204 and the tenure itself is from 1997. It comes with 2, 3, and 4 bedroom, and this is actually the price point that has been transacted over the last 2 years. 2 bedroom, hitting 1.68, 3 bedroom hitting almost close to 3 million, and 4 bedroom 3.4 million. And now let's take a look at seaside residences, which is again in the vicinity, but not like next to Vela Bay. Seaside residences, why am I using this as an example? Because in the radius itself, or I would say, within this cluster extended beyond Bayshore, seaside residences is actually the latest and newest development that we can potentially see what are the entry prices right now. For seaside residences, there's actually 1 to 4 bedrooms, and again, 2 bedrooms done deal already over 2 million, 3 bedrooms at 3.4 million, and last but not least, 4 bedroom at already 4.4 million. Okay, and if we look in terms of what is up and coming, so just now what I have done is basically comparing Vela Bay, to vicinity, Costa del Sol, which is a much older development, and of course, one of the newest one, which is seaside residences. Now let's compare something which is in future. Okay, so of course, when we look in terms of government land sales, there's also up and coming Chuan Grove, 2 of them, and 1 more Bedok Rise. This is not Bedok South, this is Bedok Rise, which is at Tanah Merah itself. And as you can see, how are we going to estimate in terms of the price point would very much depends on what is the land cost, right? Because this is like the base cost, and we have not include like construction costs, labor costs, and so on and so forth. Okay, but if we compare land cost versus land cost, if you realize Vela Bay doorstep to MRT 1388, if we compare to Chuan Grove, that was also just tendered in terms of government land sales, also hitting past 2003 PSF PPR, and last but not least, Bedok Rise, which is further away than Bayshore, also crossing the 1003 mark. Other than that, let's compare Vela Bay with something slightly closer to town area, Dorset Road, as well as Telok Blangah. If you realize again, they are very, very closely bidded in the sense of PSF or PPR. But what's most important, just want to highlight, is actually the proximity to the MRT. So for Dorset itself, you can see it's approximately 6 minutes walk, down to Farrer Park MRT. This will be 4 minutes walk to Telok Blangah. Last but not least, if we compare in the town itself, meaning you say the core region of Singapore, upcoming there's Dunman Road, Holland Link, Newton, all this is already done deal, in terms of their land bid price. And as you can see, they have already surpassed 1,004. So now let's take a look at River Modern. So why did I use River Modern? Because this was actually one of the latest launch that's done. And as we know, it's 90% sold, over 90% sold on day one launch itself, transacting an average of 3,002. So how do we define like 3,002, whether is it reasonable for Vela Bay and things like this? Number one, how we derive in terms of 3,002, a lot of people would definitely be looking at the land cost itself in terms of the land cost break even, PSF per PPR 1,004. Then again, if we look in terms of Vela Bay definitely did not surpass 1,004. And if we look in terms of how it's translated to an average of 3,002, for now, I'll probably benchmark Vela Bay to 2,008 onwards. Again, it might potentially be higher or lower. We still do not have the guide pricing from developer itself, but what I'm benchmarking is based on done deal transacted. This is something that I've put together, basically, like what I've shared earlier on three show flats. One would be two-bedroom premium, three-bedroom premium, and last but not least, five-bedroom with private live. And again, when we look in terms of GFA harmonized, meaning to say the PSF would be potentially higher. So I'm quoting based on 2008, again, excluding the facing, excluding the level. So this is just like a benchmark guideline on how we determine whether Vela Bay is a safe entry price. Two bedrooms, again, I do not have the exact square footage, but if let's say I use 650 square feet times a 2008 PSF, we are looking at 1.8 in terms of quantum. Premium, two-bedroom premium, we'll be looking at about 1.9. So both of which are under 2 million. Okay, so again, just to share with you on earliest price point in terms of now, meaning to say benchmarking based on Costa del Sol as well as Seaside, I would say two-bedroom is definitely still relatively safe to enter with this price point. Three bedrooms, of course, three bedrooms, there are two different layouts. There's three-bedroom compact as well as three-bedroom premium. So again, if we are looking in terms of 2008 price point, we are also looking at below 3 million, which is definitely safe and done deal in terms of the resale market. Last but not least, five bedrooms. Of course, like what I've mentioned earlier, like Costa del Sol and as well as Seaside, right? They both do not have five bedrooms. But if you remember earlier when I shared on the numbers, even their four bedroom already done deal at 4.4. So if today at five bedroom with private live, can be going at 4.4, I would say is a good steal because you are having five bedrooms instead of four. Secondly, the five bedrooms will still come with a household shelter, which acts as a utility or helper's room. With that, I have come to the end of the presentation and sharing. Again, due to some viewers feedback, that they do not know how to contact me, and things like this. Yeah, here's my number. If you need more insights on new developments or resale analysis, do feel free to contact me. And I hope this is insightful for Vela Bay. I would definitely be doing another video once the developer have released more information and more insights. Thank you. Bye-bye.